The Battle of Ostrołęka was fought on 16 February 1807 between 1st French Empire troops under General of Division and Jean-Marie René Savary, Russian soldiers under Lieutenant General Ivan Essen. The French defeated the Russians and forced him to retreat to the east to Wioki Mazowiecki. Weather conditions caused both sides to go into winter quarters immediately after the battle, which occurred during the War of the Fourth Coalition, part of the Napoleonic Wars. Ostrołęka is located in the northeast part of modern Poland, but in 1807 it belonged to the Kingdom of Prussia. Context: see Battle of Morungen and Battle of Eylau articles. Savary was in command of the 5th Corps on the extreme French right, so as to guard the approaches to Warsaw by the Narew and Bug, and to cover the right rear of the movement northwards. After the French were driven out of Ostrow on 3 February, Savary received orders to abandon Broke and retire upon Ostrołęka, so as to strengthen his communication with the Emperor's army. Essen was ordered by Bennigsen to drive back Savary, who, at the same time, had made up his mind to assume the offensive. Essen, with 25,000 men, advanced to Ostrołęka on the 15th, along the two banks of the Narew. Savary decided to hold Ostrołęka on the defensive on the 15th of February, leaving 3 brigades on the low hills outside Ostrołęka, flanked by batteries on the opposite bank, whilst he assumed the offensive on the morning of the 16th, against the Russian force coming down the right bank course. Early on 16 February, General of Division Honoré Théodore Maxime Gazind arrived at the vanguard with part of his division. At 9 a.m. he met the enemy on the road to Nowogrod, and attacked and routed them. But at the very same moment the Russians attacked Ostrołęka by the left bank. General of Brigade François-Frédéric Campana, with a brigade from Gazind's division, and General of Brigade François-Aimable Ruffin, with a brigade from General of Division Nicolas Charles Oudinot's division, defended the town. Savary sent General of Division Honoré Charles Ray, his chief of staff. The Russian infantry, in many columns, wished to take the city, but the French let them advance halfway up the streets before charging them, leaving the streets covered with the dead. The Russians abandoned the town and took up positions behind the sand hills that covered it. Oudinot commanded the left in 2 lines, whilst Suchet commanded the centre, and Ray, commanding a brigade of Gazind's division, formed the right. He covered himself with all his artillery and marched against the enemy. Oudinot put himself at the head of a successful cavalry charge, cutting the Cossacks in the enemy's rear guard to pieces. The exchange of fire was brisk, with the Russians giving way on all sides, and was followed fighting for 3 leagues. Results: the next day the Russians were pursued several leagues. 2 Russian generals and several other Russian officers were killed and 3 generals wounded. The Russians left 1,200 wounded and 1,300 dead on the battlefield, with 7 cannon and 2 flags captured by the French. Only 60 French troops were killed, including Campana, whose death was much grieved by Napoleon, with 400 to 500 wounded, including Colonel Demel of the 21st Light Infantry Regiment and Artillery Colonel Henri-Marie Lenoir. Savary's action at Ostrołęka had been useful in disclosing the fact the Russians were in no great strength on this side, and that Napoleon had little to fear from any attempt to strike his communications with Warsaw. Oudinot was made a Count of the Empire and given a donation of £1,000,000. Savary received the Legion d'Honneur. Napoleon ordered the 5th Corps to go into winter quarters along the right banks of the Omalu and Narew down to Sierok, holding Ostrołęka with a detachment and repairing the bride there. The thaw was dreadful, and the season allowed for no more campaigning. The enemy had left their winter quarters first, and repented it. The Battle of Ostrołęka is mentioned at the Galerie des Batailles at Versailles on the Arc de Triomphe, and is a battle honor of several French regiments.